A lovely night at the ballpark in downtown Cincinnati, and the crowd filing in for Game 2 of this 4-game series. Reds trying to bounce back, had their 10-game winning streak come to an end here last night. Homer Bailey on the mound tonight against Jason Marquis and the San Diego Padres. And hi again, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast booth alongside Chris Welsh. I'm Tom Brenaman on Bow Tie Tuesday. And Walt Jocketty today ties a bow around a brand new package. He went out and made a deal to improve this bullpen, bringing in the former Dodger closer, turned Kansas City closer, Jonathan Broxton.
There was a time when people who saw Jonathan Broxton pitch early in his career when he was with the Dodgers saying this guy simply lights out stuff. He'll be a closer and a dominant pitcher for a long, long time. He's had an up-and-down career so far, but at 6'4", 300 pounds, this guy can get it up there. He's got a nice slider. He has saved 23 out of 27 with the Kansas City Royals this year. So I think it's a great acquisition. In fact, when all else fails for Walt Jocketty, who wanted a leadoff hitter, when that didn't happen, he knows how important it was to improve your pitching, especially your bullpen.
We just felt that we wanted to try and do what we could now to strengthen the pitching staff as best we could, and this was the one move we felt helped us, helps the bullpen, and hopefully carry us in strong into September.
Here's a guy that closed in L.A. He was a closer because Soria got injured in Kansas City. So, you know, here's a guy that can set up. I mean, in days that Chapman might go 2 or 3 days in a row, he can close, and this gives us some more strength and a power arm in the bullpen.
Well, he's got to come right after you. That's the kind of pitcher he has always been, Jonathan Broxton. You see the number of games he's been in, 8 years a major leaguer. He's got a good, strong arm. And I'll tell you, when you bring a big guy in like that, you have to say that the Reds have the biggest bullpen maybe in the history of baseball. This guy goes about 3 bills out there, and I'll tell you what, you bring another guy in at the end of the bullpen who has been a closer before, that gives you 3 or 4 pitchers in that bullpen of all closed games, so nerves should not be a problem.
He is not here tonight. The Reds expect him as early as tomorrow to be in uniform. But first things first, Reds trying to start a new winning streak behind the always improving Homer Bailey. More on him when we come back. Report is brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's Michelle Boudelet.
It'll be another nice night at the ballpark. Look for partly cloudy skies and just a slim chance at a shower or thunderstorm. Temperatures early on in the 80s, upper 70s by the end of the game. I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudelet for Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, the month of July comes to an end today, and what a month it has been for Homer Bailey. Without a doubt, Chris, the best month of his major league career.
Well, you can just see Homer Bailey getting better and better, Tom, each and every start out there. He doesn't get nervous now. It doesn't seem in tight situations. He makes big pitches when he's had to, and he's not pitching at full throttle. That's the thing that excites me most about Homer Bailey. He's found a great pace to his delivery and a great pace to his demeanor on the mound. These are the other pitchers that have been very good in the month of July. Jordan Zimmerman, earned run average under 1. Paul Maholm, he's down to the Atlanta Braves now after being in Chicago with the Cubs. Homer Bailey and Jason Vargas. So all guys that have had very good months of July. Homer Bailey among the best.
All right, here we go. Time to begin a new winning streak tonight. Reds and the Padres, round 2 of 4. First pitch. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. ...2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by Cincinnati USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili tonight. Reds and the Padres tonight. Here's Bud Black's starting lineup. It will begin with the second baseman, Alexi Amarista, followed by Will Venable and Chase Headley. Middle third of Carlos Quinton, the left fielder. Yonder Alonso at first, and John Baker catching. A latter third of Cameron Maben, Everett Cabrera, and Jason Marquis on the mound. And starting at 4, the Reds in search of win number 10, Homer Bailey.
Well, Homer Bailey making his 99th career start tonight. Only 26 years old. In fact, he just turned 26 this summer. He's made 20 starts already this year, 1 complete ball game, record 9-6, and he's on quite a roll. A guy that no longer goes out there and just tries to bust the ball by hitters every pitch. Can't say he's a finesse pitcher, but he's really spotting that fastball for a power guy.
Ball 1 outside to Alexi Amarista, the second baseman, and we're underway here at Great American Ballpark. Bailey last pitched on Wednesday night down in Houston, 7 shutout innings. but in the 5-3 win was the victim of a blown save for a staff high 4th time this year. So really, Bailey, for all intents and purposes, could easily have 12-13 wins so far this season. Amarista 269. Swing and a miss.
Hey, you're right about the 12 wins for Homer Bailey, or could have, but it doesn't always seem like there's somebody on the staff that is a victim of blown saves. There's another guy on the staff who's a victim of not having much run support, and there's somebody else who always seems like every time he pitches, you know, his team gets a bunch of runs for him.
Well, Bailey has certainly been a workhorse this season, trying to put together a healthy year from start to finish for the first time. He has gone at least 8 innings in a team high 5 outings this year. In fact, he's gone 8 or more innings 3 times in his last 5 starts.
I think you can look at 3 different factors and pinpoint why Homer Bailey has been more durable this year, and he's been overall a better pitcher. Number one, he spent the winter getting stronger. Really came to spring training, added about 12 to 15 pounds of muscle around his shoulders and his back area to try to keep that loose shoulder syndrome tight, and it's been good so far. The other is he lowered his arm angle slightly, and he's getting more ground balls this year than before because he's had more action on his fastball to go down. And the third thing is he's just simply not trying to overthrow the ball like he did previously.
Phillips throwing out Amarista. The Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Ludwig, Heisey, and Bruce in the outfield. Roland, Valdez, and out at short. Phillips and Frazier on the right side with a battery of Bailey and Devin Mesoraco. No word on Mesoraco, and any word of a suspension after bumping last night's home plate umpire Chad Fairchild. I mean, Mesoraco said it point blank. I lost my cool, made a bad mistake. I'm sure we'll hear his fate very, very soon. Fairchild tonight down at third. Brian O'Nora at second. The crew chief Tom Hallion at first. And Alfonso Marquez working behind the plate. 0-2 on right fielder Will Venable. That pitch just ate Venable up, down, and in. 2 up, 2 down for Homer here in the opening.
Yeah, that's
break.
a nasty little cut fastball that is intended to go inside to a left-hander. He's got some depth on that ball, though. It also goes down. So Homer Bailey has really been able to master that pitch recently. It gives him a whole new weapon to go after left-handed hitters with.
Got a lot going on tonight during our telecast. And I mean a lot going on, including Walt Jocketty will visit us in the 4th inning tonight to talk about the deal he made earlier today, acquiring Kansas City closer Jonathan Broxton, adding yet more firepower down in that Reds bullpen, which by and large has been the #1 ranked bullpen in the National League virtually the entire season. Tell you how you can help raise money for the Reds Community Fund. Hall of Famer Marty Brenaman is going to shave his head on the field before the fireworks on Friday night after the game, if we can raise $20,000 or more for the Reds Community Fund. You figure we're going to have 40,000 people in the stands that night. Heck, if everybody threw in $1, you'd have 40,000 right from the start. But whatever anybody can do, it is much appreciated. 3-0 on Chase Headley. There's a strike. A bow tie Tuesday night, Chris Welsh, and that has been a very good night for Homer Bailey.
It really has. In fact, if you go back over the last 9 bow tie Tuesday starts for Homer Bailey, the Reds have won 7 and lost only 2. I'm surprised Homer's not wearing a bow tie himself out there. A Texas style bow tie.
So Headley draws the walk. Boy, the Reds have pitched him like he's Babe Ruth through the first game and 1 at bat in this series. He walked 4 times in the game last night. Reds pitching issuing a total of 11 walks. Headley will steal a base, 12 out of 16 so far this year, and Carlos Quentin out to bat it. Strike one. Reds begin play 3 better than the Pirates in the National League Central Division, 7 ahead of the Cardinals. Cardinals back in action after a night off last night. They're playing out in Denver later. And in less than an hour from now, it'll be the Pirates at Wrigley Field. Cubs roughing up the Bucks in the opener of that series last night. Reds a half game behind the Nationals for the best record in all the National League. In fact, that would be for the best record in all of baseball. Strike two. Quinn had a couple of hits, drove in 3, including a home run here in the 11-5 San Diego win last night. Finally healthy after undergoing knee surgery very early in the year. A native of San Diego, came over during the offseason after some very good years with the White Sox. Runner goes. And a breaking ball is lifted into short left center. Coming into the shade is Ludwig, and that'll do it. A 2-out walk. He's left at first. The Reds are coming to bat. Dusty Baker's starting lineup tonight reads as follows. It'll be Chris Heisey, Wilson Valdez, and Brandon Phillips. Jay Bruce, Ryan Ludwig, Scott Rowland, Todd Frazier, Devin Mesoraco, Homer Bailey. Against right-hander Jason Marquis.
Well, Jason Marquis had a couple of different stops this year. He started the season in Minnesota with the Minnesota Twins. Did not pitch very well there at all. In fact, his outing right before he got traded, he went 1+ innings and gave up 8 runs. So he gets traded over to San Diego Padres, and all of a sudden he gets his act together, and he's thrown the ball fairly well. Earned run average in the mid-3s, making his 285th career start. Had a nice career.
Tonight, the second time the Reds have seen Marquis in a San Diego uniform. He pitched against him in that 4-game series. Reds won that one 5-1. Marquis got the loss. Gave up 7 hits in 5 innings and 3 earned runs. And And this one's shot into right center field off the bat of Heisey. He's digging hard, and he's coming to second, and he is in there with a double.
I think when Chris Heisey wakes up in the morning, the first thing he says is hustle. Because that's what he did on that fly ball that ended the inning. He was right there next to Ryan Ludwig when he made that play, just in case Ludwig lost it in the sun. That time he's thinking double right from the get-go. And Chris Heisey is safe at second. He is safe and secure.
New York Light. So in a New York minute, the Reds have their leadoff man aboard and in scoring position. And now are they going to ask Wilson Valdez to advance him with a bunt? Padres think so. Foul. Valdez is without question the best bunter among all the position players on this Reds team. Of that there is very little doubt. He has 4 sacrifices, which is tied for the team lead, but among the position players. But of course he has had far fewer at bats than the other 2 guys he's tied with. And as soon as you say he's a good bunter, he can't get one down. It's 0-2.
I don't know if you were around to watch a pregame show, but the feature of our CBTS Tech Talk today was Wilson Valdez and him teaching us how to lay down a sacrifice bunt. And he's really known as one of the best bunters on this Reds ball club. Maybe trying to be too fine in the first couple of pitches right here, but he's down 0-2. What do you do if you're Dusty Baker?
Well, we talked about it from time to time. This has not been a strength of the Reds team this season. The ability to execute small ball in given situations. He takes low and in, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, his job here really isn't all that difficult. He's facing a guy in Jason Marquis, not an overpowering pitcher, fastball around 88, 89. But his job, Wilson Valdez, is to hit the ball to the right field. So you keep your hands inside, you swing late, you drive it the other way, or get it on the ground the other way, and you get your job done just as well as a sacrifice.
Which he does. That's beautifully done, just like you drew it up. And on the third goes Heisey. Well done. San Diego defensively presented by your Ford dealers. Maben flanked by Quinton and Venable. Same infield, same outfield we saw here last night. And John Baker replaced the injured Yasmani Grandal. He left with an oblique strain and today went on the disabled list. They brought up catcher Eddie Rodriguez from the minor league.
Might be noted that Eddie Rodriguez, the catcher they brought up, came up from A-ball. Padres going deep to fill in their roster.
The one guy you didn't want to hit it to outside the pitcher, and Phillips found it. 2 outs in the inning. You can play along with Fox Sports Ohio. That'll close at the top of the 2nd inning. So jump on right now, foxsportsohio.com. Click on play along and watch the rest of the game to see how well you do. We'll have your bonus question in the bottom of the 5th. So up to Jay Bruce to deliver a 2-out hit if the Reds are going to score here in the opening inning after a leadoff double. Strike 1. Been a major struggle for Bruce of late, although he did have a very fine game here last night. On base 4 times, a double, a home run, scored twice, walked twice. Month of July is a month where Bruce will look forward to turning the calendar, hoping to cap off the final day of July on a good run following the game here last night. Pretty much the entire month, Bruce has been less than a 200 batter. Of course, we've all seen those monster hot streaks when they come for Bruce. Boy, they come, and the hits and the homers and the RBIs, they come in bunches. He's only had one of those so far this year.
Well, he's always gone through cold spells, too. And the thing that defines Jay Bruce is being hot and cold. The thing that will define him as a great player, if he can keep those cold spells shorter than they normally have been. I mean, everybody's going to go in
spring training.
Yeah, everybody's going to go into a slump. But the key is don't let it persist too long to the point where all of a sudden it takes on a life of its own.
The month of May was off the charts. In fact, he was a National League's Player of the Month in May. Well, he's run the count full here against Jason Marquis. Ludwig hoping for a chance in the on-deck circle. And now the payoff pitch from Marquis to Jay Bruce on the way. Ball 4. Now Ryan Ludwig, a .252 batter, 17 home runs and 48 runs batted in. He had a first inning 2-run double here last night. His only hit in 4 at-bats. There's a base hit into left center field. It'll plate Heisey, so Ludwig steps up with 2 outs. A base hit to make it a 1-0 Cincinnati lead.
Well, it's important to get the bat on the ball, and he got jammed on that, but nonetheless strong enough to get it into the outfield. Jason Marquis gets this pitch up. You see where John Baker, the catcher, is down and away, and right now, the way that Ryan Ludwig is seeing it, he's going to put a good swing on a pitch like that. He may not get all of it all the time, but he drives in a big run right there, and the Reds out in front.
Scott Rowland now the batter at .223, 5 home runs, 24 runs batted in. Rowland 1 of 2 in a game last night. Walked twice, knocked in a run. Ball 1.
There really aren't a lot of hitters on this ball club that have had any measure of success. At least ones that have had a lot of at-bats against Jason Marquis in their career. Scott Rowland, maybe the worst of all, a 182 hitter, and he's seen him an awful lot. 33 times, and that can be really traced back to the fact that Jason Marquis's got a very good slider. And he's very tough on right-handers when he gets that breaking pitch over. That was the pitch that he hung to Ludwig.
Marquis in his 13th season that he's played in the National League. Tonight his 278th career start, and all, or 278th career start as a National League pitcher. Wow. Two and 2 on Rowland. 108 wins against 103 losses. Those 108 National League wins rank 6th most among all active players currently in the major leagues. Behind Livan Hernandez, Roy Oswalt, Randy Wolf, Carlos Zambrano, and the just traded Ryan Dempster. Dempster apparently rethinking his original idea that he would only go in a deal to the Los Angeles Dodgers, was traded to the Texas Rangers as they tried to answer the deal made by Anaheim to get Zach Greinke. Reds are really making Marquis work. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Bruce did the same thing.
It looks like he's being very tentative, and knowing that this ballpark gives up home runs. He hasn't given up very many at all this year. In fact, he's only given up 6 in 62 innings as a Padre. But he knows how this ball can jump out of here, and he wants to make sure he doesn't make a mistake down the middle of the plate.
Runners get started. 2 outs. 3-2 on Roland. And a liner at the shortstop will end the inning. But the Reds get a run, and at the end of one, lead 1-0.
Good about adding an arm like Broxton. We're still going to look at things in August. There's still be deals that could be made in August that we'll look at. So we'll keep working at it.
Our game storyline brought to you by Elk & Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. Walt Jocketty will be by to visit the booth in the 4th inning, so hang around for that. Reds out to a 1-0 lead on the 2-out single by Ryan Ludwig. And now Homer Bailey to face Yonder Alonso to begin the San Diego 2nd.
Yonder put on a little bit of a hitting clinic himself last night. Had doubles down the left field line, the right field line. Had a double in the right field gap before he was finally a victim of a strikeout.
Reds former #1 pick out of Miami of Florida. They saw 2 of those last night, hitting back-to-back in the San Diego lineup. Alonso and Yasmani Grandal. In fact, they saw all 4 players put on a San Diego uniform and appear in the game last night that came over from Cincinnati to San Diego in the Matt Latos trade. 1 out to begin the 2nd.
How about where Todd Frazier had Yonder Alonso played that time? I mean, right on the first base line as if preventing a double. And that's what it would have been if he'd been playing in a normal first base position. He'll hit the ball in the air oftentimes to left field, but on the ground he'll pull it, especially when he gets it around there to first base. So good scouting job by the Reds.
Padres catcher John Baker digging in. And a sharp ground ball into center field, a base hit. First San Diego hit tonight against Homer Bailey. It comes with 1 out in the 2nd inning. Bailey has never lost to the Padres. And only once in 5 starts has he allowed more than 3 runs. In fact, every game he has started against San Diego, he has gone at least 6 innings. Of course, a number of trades made earlier today in baseball, and Chris, you'd have to say the top 2 contending teams in San Diego's division, the National League West, were 2 of the more active clubs in acquiring big names, big time talent. I mean, that is a neck and neck race. In fact, they are tied in a virtual tie atop the National League West, referring to the Giants and the Dodgers. The Dodgers getting Brandon League from Seattle, Shane Victorino from the Phillies. Hunter Pence goes from the Phillies to the Giants. And the Diamondbacks are still lurking. They're only 3.5 behind the Giants and the Dodgers. It's going to be quite a race out there.
It really is going to be quite a race. Ball clubs, all of them that have winning traditions. Of course, the Diamondbacks, big-time winners last year, year before last. The Giants won the World Series. I think the Dodgers want to join that party.
They'll have to hurry here with Maven running, and they will turn it. Phillips, Valdez, Frazier to end the inning. Reds lead 1-0. Friday night, the Reds and the Pirates, and stick around after the game for a fireworks show. The soundtrack of hits chosen by Marty Brenaman, celebrating his 70th birthday, presented by Klosterman Baking Company. That'll be quite a night for the Reds Hall of Famer. Tickets at 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com today. And while you're there, Marty Brenaman has made the decision that if we can raise $20,000 for the Reds Community Fund. Go to reds.com/community or 765-7234. If they can raise at least $20,000, they'd love to have more. Between now and Friday afternoon, he will shave his head on the field after the game before the fireworks begin. And Chris, you have an early preview of what my dad might look like after shaving his head. That's a very good look.
Thank you. Has anyone seen my hair? And this one belongs to the hairless one.
Hey, now we got to raise it $20,000.
No problem there.
I mean, we're going to have 40,000 fans here in the stands that night, we hope. I mean, heck, if everybody threw in 50 cents, we'd get to 20,000. But you can log on to reds.com/community. And if we can get to that $20,000 number, and I saw where Jack Cassidy, the CEO of Cincinnati Bell, has already said, I'm in for $5 grand.
All right.
So let's get to that 20,000, if not more. That will be quite a treat, Chris, sitting right here. You and I will be in the booth that night right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, you're not kidding about that.
To be able to go on the field and have his own barber is going to make sure it's done the right way. But right there out in front of home plate for 40,000 to witness. After he made the promise to Reds bench coach Chris Spire on the team plane leaving Cincinnati a little over a week ago. He said if his team wins 10 in a row, I will shave my head. They won 10 in a row. And I'd like to think I know Marty Brenaman a little bit. He is without a doubt a man of his word. And he's ready to do it for all of us and the Reds Community Fund. And on Reds Live, the postgame show on Friday night, we will have full coverage of the head shaving. But again, he's not going to do it on the field if we can't raise at least $20,000. Three and 2 on Todd Frazier, leading off the Reds' second inning, already with a 1-0 lead. Reds had a pair of hits and a walk. Got a 2-out single to knock in a run from Ludwig. Glove side of Headley. 1 out.
Last night, Devin Mesoraco was very upset with the home plate umpire, Chad Fairchild, and he finally had enough, and he went right into Fairchild's face. In fact, he bumped him, as he says right there. Fairchild said, hey, you touched me, and you're not allowed to do that to an umpire. Today, Mesoraco said, you know, I just simply lost my cool. But he's a guy sticking up for his pitchers. You got to love that part of Mesoraco. But, Tom, we discussed it today before the ball game. You can't find a nicer young man than Devin Mesoraco. I mean, this kid is dedicated ever since he was a first-round draft pick of the Reds right out of high school several years ago. I mean, he is all about baseball, all about staying the straight and narrow. He just lost his cool last night.
Off the end of the bat, a slow roller to the shortstop, Cabrera, 2 out.
But the league will take that into consideration, but they'll also take into consideration the video, the umpire's report, and the fact that he did actually make contact with an umpire. And then after that, we didn't show you that, but I mean, he was quite demonstrative in flailing his arms, trying to get around Dusty Baker to get closer to Chad Fairchild, and he'll probably end up sitting for a few days.
Yeah, in fact, if I were a betting man, and I am not, had it just been that initial, sort of brush with his hand while he had the ball in his hand, when the initial debate began, I'm not so sure they'd come down on it. But this part of it right there.
Yeah, that's the part that I think will probably be looked at over and over again. And, it's certainly not going to define him because he's way more than that. But as a pitcher, I got to really like the way he sticks up for his guys. Mike Leake had a rough night, maybe in part because they didn't get the calls they thought they were going to get. And Devin Mesoraco takes that personally, as a catcher should. So he's going to catch until the league decides what they're going to do and come down on him and see if there is a suspension or a fine or any kind of reprimand from the league or the commissioner's office.
A ball and 2 strikes on Homer Bailey with 2 out and nobody on. And Marquis delivers, and that'll take care of the Reds in the 2nd inning. First strikeout for Marquis. We play 2. Reds 1, Padres nothing. Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We're talking about some of the teams in the National League West. More importantly for the Reds, the Pirates were very busy today. Now, Gavi Sanchez was a young man, Chris, you and I were very impressed with the Marlins last year. This year was so bad, they sent him to the minor leagues.
For a month.
Travis Snyder, who at times last year, very good with Toronto, only playing in 10 games this year with an injury, now goes to the Pirates. And they get Chad Qualls to bolster their bullpen from the New York Yankees.
Well, last year the Pirates went out and got Derek Lee to try to help them be respectable last year. And Ryan Ludwig. This year they went out and got 3 players now that they're right in the hunt. Kind of like you got to do that. If you're the Pirates, you're drawing way more people. You're getting viewing audiences on their television that they have never had before. There's a renewed interest in that ball club. And it'll be a lot of excitement this weekend when the Pirates come to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Tickets are available, so log on quickly to Reds.com or call the ballpark. Reds and the Pirates Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Top 2 teams right now anyway in the NL Central. Reds and the Pirates have 9 games left against one another. 6 of the 9 will be right here in Cincinnati. The only 3 in Pittsburgh will be the final weekend of the regular season. That last road trip for the Reds will be 3 in Pittsburgh, 3 in St. Louis to end the year. 1-2 on Everth Cabrera. Number 8 hitter in the shortstop. Marquis to follow, then Alexi Amarista. Strike over to Frazier in time to get the hustling Cabrera.
He's going to throw a strike just about every time because he sets his feet and he makes the same arm slot throw every time. Some third basemen, some infielders you'll see, sometimes they're throwing sidearm, sometimes overhand. That lends a little bit of inconsistency, but just Scott Rowland will not even practice like that. In fact, he would not even throw a ball across the infield unless he's going to set his feet, get his body lined up, and throw it the way he will under pressure in a ball game.
You saw the way he had to make that play. That ball had a lot of spin on it. Marquis has always been a pretty decent hitter. 4 of 19 this year with a double and an RBI. 2-1. That one shot down a left field line. This will be his second double of the season. Well, the Padres have a tying run in scoring position with 1 out here in the 3rd.
He's always been a very good hitter, Jason Marquis. In fact, he's been used oftentimes by his managers in the National League as a pinch hitter.
Marista grounded out to Brandon Phillips, leading off the game. Reds lead 1-0. Runner at second, 1 out. We're in the 3rd inning. Breaking ball, strike 1 at the knees. And it's a ground ball Phillips' way a second time, and for the second time thrown out. Marquis advances 90 feet, 2 away. Well, the Padres, like every other team in the National League, love coming here to Great American Ballpark. Our Farmers Insurance report card. Look at the Padres. Going back to 2003, they have averaged 6 runs per game here. They had 11 last night. Every other ballpark they play in, going back to 2003, they've only averaged 4 runs per game. 1-1 on Will Venable, a strikeout victim, his first at bat. Venable, one of the best nights of his career here last night, was on base 4 times, 2 hits, scored twice, knocked in 4. One-two, Bailey to Venable. Had a pretty good cut at that pitch, left over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, he wanted to drive that cutter down and into a Venable and get the same result out of Will that he had in the first inning with a strikeout. Just got it up a little bit. You got a better one than that, come back with it.
Three and 2 to Will Venable. We'll do it once more.
It used to be the Homer Bailey go to the 3-2 count, and you were getting you had 95% chance that you were getting the fastball, one that he would throw from an overhand arm slot about as hard as he could, with not a whole lot of movement on it. And 95 is hitting speed in this major league level. But he's adjusted to that, and you've got to give a lot of credit to Brian Price and Mac Jenkins, who have worked with Homer over the last few years, getting him to understand the art of pitching. And really what you're seeing now is a much more polished pitcher than ever before.
3-2 again on Venable. Came with a fastball that time, looking to get him to get it up in the strike zone a little bit, fouled away.
Now that last pitch was 94. The previous pitch was 90. So what Homer hasn't done tonight is thrown more than one pitch at the same speed back to back.
Nine pitches thus far during this at bat. Bailey against Will Venable. Tying run leads down at third. There are 2 outs. We're in the third. Homer Bailey has thrown 20 pitches thus far in this inning. Half of those have come during this at bat with Venable. So now pitch number 11. And he walked him. That's quite an at bat by young Mr. Venable.
It really is. He saw 4 pitches his first at bat and struck out. So he made an adjustment between his first and second at bat, kept the inning alive for the number 3 hitter, Chase Headley, who's, other than Carlos Quentin, probably their best offensive hitter as far as production numbers go.
Headley walked in the first inning. We told you the Reds walked him 4 times last night. He also threw in a single. So reaching base in 5 of 6 plate appearances. They're on the corners, 2 out, ball 1. This threat began with a double by the pitcher Jason Marquis with 1 out in the inning. And after a ground out got him to third, the 11 pitch at bat, ending in a walk to Venable. Breaking ball catches the outside corner to even things on Chase Headley at 1-1.
That's a good pitch by Homer Bailey, a pitch he would not even come close to seeing him throw 2 years ago. He just walks a batter. He goes 1-0 to the next guy. I think he throws a little breaking ball right there. That may have been a mix-up right there, the way that Devin Mesoraco caught it. It didn't look like he was ready for it, but it came right in there for a strike. Now he knows the curveball's coming. Gets a benefit of a high strike and gets ahead in the count. That's a strike.
Bailey now tries to end this third inning. Runner goes first to second, check swing. It looked like he went. They appeal, and no, the entire Reds infield defense all had a very good look at that check swing. We're on their way to the first base dugout. But Chad Fairchild down there at third said no. So a 2 in scoring position, and this time Bailey takes care of Headley. Padres leave a pair. Reds lead 1-0. 4 o'clock today, we'll give you the wrap on the deals that were made and how they affect the Reds. Plus more uncertainty than ever in the backfield at Ohio State. All this and more right now at FoxSportsOhio.com. If a Red hits a Toyota sign during our game, Mark and Tammy Ross from Springboro will win the new Tundra here at Great American Ballpark, and you can register for a chance to win it. Just stop by your Cincinnati and in Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Great to have you with us on this beautiful Tuesday night at Great American Ballpark. Reds got a run in the first inning off Jason Marquis, the only run for either team as they bat in the third. Heisey led off the first with a double to right center and scored on the hit by Ludwig. Heisey making his 58th start of the season for the Reds. Of course, he got virtually 3 straight weeks of playing time when Drew Stubbs was injured. That was back in the month of June, and he has gone swinging on that slider by Marquis. 1 out.
Now, when Jason Marquis faces a right-handed hitter, his main weapon is that slider. He'll get a lot of ground balls from a sinking fastball, but he'll get his strikeouts. And not quite, but nearly 1 per inning here in the National League this year. Most of those come on that breaking pitch. Against left-handers, he uses the changeup. You know, Marquis' career really changed when he first came up to the major leagues. He was a hot prospect with the Atlanta Braves. Then he got traded over to the St. Louis Cardinals. That's when Dave Duncan, the pitching coach of the Cardinals, took a look at Marquis and said, you know, this kid can have one heck of a sinking fastball and just live down in the zone. And really completely changed Marquis' philosophy. He had always been a guy that wanted to rear back and throw the ball as hard as he could, 4-seam fastballs. And he bought into Duncan's theory, and it changed his career around. And he put together about 6 years of double-digit wins for the Cardinals, St. Louis, the Cubs, and then the Washington Nationals.
Back up through the middle in the center field, a base hit by Wilson Valdez. His first hit in 2 at-bats, although his first at-bat was a productive out when he advanced Heisey following the leadoff double to third with a ground ball. Phillips a ground out to third base, his first time up. 12 home runs, 61 runs driven in for Brandon Phillips. And my oh my, has he been so good ever since Joey Votto went down. Phillips in 14 games since the injury to Votto, that's every game the Reds have played, has knocked in 12 runs during the 14 games. 5 of those came when the Reds fell behind 6-0 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Phillips hit a 3-run home run, later added a base hit to tie the game, and the Reds came from behind to win that game, the first of what turned into the 10-game win streak. it goes, swung on and missed, and the ball is dropped by the second baseman Amarista, or they would have had Valdez on what looked to be a hit and run.
It probably was a hit and run, and as it turned out, it looked like Marquis pulled the changeup out, and that gave Valdez an extra step to get there. But had that ball stayed in Amarista's glove, he probably would have had a film out right there. So the Reds catch a break, another runner in scoring position. Valdez checking how deep the outfielders are playing, where they're at, so he can more easily judge a base hit.
Ground ball, they're coming to third, and they get the out on Valdez.
Well, he's got his reasons, obviously, for going to third base. I don't think he thought that ball was going through. I thought maybe he just thought he could beat that play. The shortstop, Amarista, playing very deep out there. Well, Amarista dropped the ball when he had a chance to tag him at second. He did not drop it and made the assist here as he gets the lead runner. Not a good base running play at all.
So now Jay Bruce with a runner at first and 2 outs, and Bruce bounces one into center field, a base hit, and Phillips will easily make the turn and advance on to third.
It's almost like Jay Bruce guided that ball out there. You know, it was kind of a modified shift, where you had the second baseman way around into right field, and you had the shortstop still on the shortstop side of the bag. Jason Marquis saying, do I have any fielders out there where I thought they were going to be? It looks like he even let that ball go. I don't know if he had a chance to flag that ball down as it went by or not, but Jay Bruce picks up a hit, keeps the inning alive, and the Reds have a chance again for the guy that drove in the only run of this ball game.
So for Bruce, that is now reaching base 6 times in his last 7 plate appearances.
Heating up.
Ryan Ludwig, the batter. He had the 2-out single to knock in the game's only run in the first inning, and this ball is clobbered into right center field. Ryan Ludwig doing it.
Some of your former teammates right here. Ryan Ludwig, a member of the Padres the last few years, gets a little sinker pretty much right down Broadway, a little bit above the knees, and he just takes it into Ludwig Alley, right center field. Man, has he been immense.
Tell you what, it is not a stretch, as hot as he has been here of late. It is not a stretch to think that Ryan Ludwig is going to catch somebody for the team lead in runs batted in. He's got 4 of them tonight, giving him 52 on the year. He is only 11 behind Jay Bruce for the most on the club. Man, is he hot. And again, we get back to what are guys doing since Votto went down. Ryan Ludwig, how about 5 home runs and 16 runs driven in 13 games.
Well, the kind of stroke that Ryan Ludwig can be successful with at this ballpark simply gave him fly ball outs to center field when he was in San Diego. In fact, he'll be the first to tell you that he changed his swing. He tried to go up there and pull the ball all the time because he was so frustrated with a huge ballpark that never rewarded him for hitting a ball just like he did now. So you hit it in Cincinnati, it's a 3-run bomb. You hit that in San Diego, and it's an F8.
That's a pop-up 8.
You're right.
I mean, that ball is nowhere close to the warning track.
You're right.
With that heavy air in that big ballpark. Hey.
They only ask you how many. They don't ask you where.
That's right. And again, we brought it up here last night. You know, when the Reds went into San Diego, the Padres, and that was the final series before the All-Star break, the Padres as a team had hit 14 home runs all year at Petco Park. The Reds in 4 games hit 7.
And as I remember, they were hitting them all over the ballpark, not just down the left field line.
They would have had the 8th. But Cameron Maben, I think, Chris, you might agree, he made the defensive play of the year, taking away a home run from Joey Votto in that series. In deep left center field up over the wall. And Frazier launches one deep into the night. Three-run home run by Ludwig, 2-run home run by Frazier.
Boy, you talk about just jumping all over one right there. Todd Frazier, if he could put a ball on a tee, would stick it right there. What a great slow-mo look at that powerful swing by Frazier. Now, Foreman's Honda look, we thank them for that.
Pardon me, now that one would have left Petco.
Oh, yeah.
All of this after 2 are out in the inning, and there's another bouncer behind the bag. Nice play by the shortstop Cabrera to throw out Mesoraco. Well. Reds flexing their muscles into third. Ludwig a 3-run blast. Frazier a 2-run home run. Walt Jocketty stopping by. Walt Jocketty, just like you drew it up, right? Down there in your booth, you get a 3-run home run by Ludwig and a 2-run home run by Frazier.
That's a perfect time to come on TV, too, to talk about it. That's great. Now, it's fun to see these guys really playing well. And you know, I've said this a few times here lately, I'm really proud of our guys, where they've stepped up with Joey out and picking up the slack, and really our offense has been on fire, and it's been great to see.
You know, Walt, Chris and I talked last night about the comments made by Ryan Ludwig over the weekend. And obviously he is in just a red-hot stretch right now. And 3-run home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He's knocked in now 16 runs in the 13 games since Joey Votto went down. But, you know, he made the comment over the weekend in Denver that from a chemistry standpoint, this might be the best team. Not might be, he said it is the best team I've ever played on. chemistry-wise.
Yeah, that's great. That's
and
great.
what I'm getting at is, as you and your staff know the trade deadline is coming leading up to 4 o'clock this afternoon earlier today, how much did the chemistry of this club affect your decision as to whether or not to make a deal?
A lot. You know, we had a chance to make a couple of bigger deals, and I was concerned about two things. Number one, how it would affect the chemistry on the club, you know, how to make up the club and, you know, introduce some new variables. Sometimes it detracts from what you have, but also about the future that we'd had to give up to get some of the guys that we were talking about. So in the end, we spent a lot of time, trust me, you know, when we were in Denver, we never got to the ballpark. We stayed up in the room. I had my staff. We had 7 of us all together, and we work on the phones, doing research and stuff on different guys, and looking at video and watching our game on TV. And we put a lot of time and effort into this, and it's a real process you have to go through to make sure you make the right decisions. And you involve a lot of people, and you know, I talked to Dusty, I talked to the coaches, I talked to some of the players to get their feelings on certain aspects of what we're trying to do. And in addition to my staff and my scouts, we were sending scouts across the country the last few days, you know, and had last minute deals, and you know, I really credit all of them for the hard work we put into it. And you know, in the end, we came up with a pitcher that we think is really going to help us out of the bullpen late in the game, in Jonathan Broxton.
1-out single into right field by Yonder Alonso.
All right, Walt, elaborate on that. First, how'd that deal come down, and what do the Reds get in Jonathan Broxton?
Well, the deal came down, and you know, we looked at a lot of different variables to help the club. We looked at starting pitching, we looked at bullpen, we looked at leadoff guys, we looked at there really weren't the cleanup guys available that we sought, and we looked at different bench guys, you know, hitters off the bench. And in the end, we felt that the one thing, when we decided not to add offense, we went to try and bolster the bullpen, because that's a strength we have in our club. I think that's what you need to win going in the last couple months of the season and into the postseason. You have to have a strong bullpen, a strong pitching staff. And so in the end, we had talked to Kansas City. We talked to several other clubs about the same type of pitcher, you know, been a closer, and we wanted to use in the setup role. And he'll be a guy that'll be used to pitch the 8th inning, but he'll also be able to close on days that Chapman's not available. And you know, you look at the back end of our bullpen now with Andrusic and with Marshall and Broxton and Chapman, and then you know, with the other guys with Arredondo, and I mean, it's a solid bullpen, and it hopefully will be a strength for us going down the stretch.
The whole idea is, I guess, to shorten the game.
You're right. Shorten the game.
Nothing short about that rocket into left center field off the bat of Maben, and that thing flies out of here for a 3-run home run. Maben thought it was a ground rule double. And the umpire had to tell him, son, that ball cleared the wall out in left center field, so 6-0 all of a sudden becomes 6-3. Singles by Alonso and Baker in front of the home run by Maben.
Well, this was just a line drive laser off a little bit of a hanging breaking ball. I didn't realize he had that kind of power. I mean, that was a laser beam.
Yeah. Line shot.
The Padres right back in the ball game here after the 3-run home run by Cameron Maben.
So, Walt, now you get Jonathan Broxton, 84 saves in his major league career coming into this year. He was 23 for 27 in Kansas City. Still throwing the ball very well. Was, when he first came up with the Dodgers, one of the hardest throwers around.
Right.
Will there be a temptation to use him as a closer, or maybe put the big guy, Aroldis Chapman, in the rotation as you set up for playoff?
You know, I don't know. We hadn't talked about that, but it's a thought. No, I think, you know, we like our bullpen the way it is, and you know, I think, you know, he did do a great job. He was actually signed by Kansas City to be a setup guy, to Soria, their closer, and then he ended up having Tommy John, so he got pressed into duty as a closer. And so you know, he's used to doing both roles, and you know, we'll see how things develop. But I think that at this point it might be tough to get Aroldis lengthened out to start.
Walt, you know, another heavy weapon potentially in the Reds bullpen. I mean, he has been mighty good ever since he came over from the White Sox, and that's Nick Massick. He pitched again last night. He's scheduled to pitch again tomorrow night in Dayton, Ohio. What have your reports been on him? Because, I mean, he conceivably, I guess, could be right around the corner for bolstering the pen even more. Yeah,
and he will be a guy that, you know, getting Broxton helps us slow him down and make sure that he's 100% and recovering properly. I think, you know, it'll probably take the full 30 days on his rehab because he hasn't pitched all year, which takes us down towards the end of August and maybe into September. But we'll see how it develops as we get down there. But he's another guy that just gives us another power arm coming out of the bullpen. And you know, if we do get into the postseason and have to make some choices, it's going to be tough to but we've got a lot of weapons to come out of the bullpen and strengthen the pitching. But you know, I think pitching is so important to our success and will continue to be this year.
You know, Walt, before I let you get out of here, I want to ask you one thing about. You mentioned earlier, you know, you talk to your staff. Obviously, you talk to Dusty, you talk to the coaching staff, you talk to the players. In your visit with anybody in that group, was there anything that you didn't know about your team that surprised you in those conversations?
Not really.
No.
I think you know, we weren't real sure what you know, if we really obviously we thought that we needed somebody at the top of the order, but that was, you know, things we knew. But I think not really. I think you know, we had a pretty good handle on where we were and what we had to do. And I think the one thing that we wanted to be cautious of was not bringing in another player that could change things, upset things a little bit.
Well, the Padres are upsetting things here after the Reds open a 6-0 lead. This is going to be a 3-base hit down the right field line. And all of a sudden, 6-0 has become 6-4 with a runner at third and 2 men out. A 4-run San Diego fourth inning.
Well, Amarista just rips it right down the line. Todd Frazier bounces off the bag. Against a left-hander, you want to be ready, obviously, but you don't expect it right down the line. Didn't plant it there. Amarista actually brushed into Frazier as he went around first base, but still ended up on third. Well, what about Aroldis Chapman? I mean, he has been, I've never seen anything like it in my baseball career as a broadcaster, as a player, as a fan. Have you ever seen anything close to what Aroldis Chapman has given the Reds this year?
No. I mean, he's been, you know, for the most part, he has been just a dominating force out of that bullpen, and it's really fun to watch. And you know, we saw signs of that in spring training when he was, you know, in the starting rotation, and then in that one game we played on the road against Milwaukee, and he got a chance to hit, and he hit a double, and that was this guy's a tremendous athlete, you know, and nothing he does, I guess, should surprise us.
I gotta ask you though, did any general manager have the courage to call you up and say, no, is he available?
No. They asked for a lot of silly things, but that was
Well, congratulations on everything so far. The team at 20 games over 500, sitting atop the division. A long way to go. When we turn the calendar to August tomorrow, it's going to be a fun ride.
It should be, and you know, we keep pouring on the offense. We've been pitching good for the most part. I mean, Homer's had a great month, and you know, with the ERA of 1.4, I think, and going into tonight. And everybody has really stepped up and done well. And, you know, there obviously, when Joey got hurt, I think there was some concern, and legitimately so. But like I said, our guys have stepped up and really performed well. And we just got to keep pouring it on because, you know, there's still 2 months. And it'll be a tough couple months, especially the last few weeks of the season gets tough.
Walt Jocketty, president of baseball operations, as well as a title of general manager for the Reds. Reds acquiring Jonathan Broxton from the Kansas City Royals. Right up against a trade deadline earlier today. Walter, congratulations and thanks for the time tonight.
Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure, and let's get out of this inning and score a few more runs.
All right. Thank you, Walter. Congratulations.
Thanks, Walter.
To you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So Homer Bailey trying to tie a ribbon around this 4-run San Diego fourth inning. He's got Will Venable, who had an 11-pitch at bat his last time up. Capped it off with a walk. Alexi Amarista with a run-scoring triple stands at third with 2 away in the inning.
Well, his go-to pitch against both Venable and Headley had been that slider inside. There's the breaking ball for a strike and a gapper.
This will make it a 6-5 game, and this will be back-to-back 3-base hits for Amarista and Venable.
Well, he decides to go outside. He just hangs that breaking ball just about thigh high. So it's one of those games for Homer Bailey where there's not quite enough snap on that breaking ball. And he hasn't been able to make the kind of pitches that he has made recently to get himself a very good earned run average in July. A 5 spot. The Padres have put on him here in the 4th inning.
We showed you earlier for whatever reason, and now all of a sudden this is a tie game. Wow. Homer Bailey is unable to hold a 6-0 lead. The Reds scored 5 in the bottom of the 3rd. Bailey has given up 6 in the top of the 4th inning. Holy Moses.
Well, last night it was Mike Leake that ran into a buzzsaw, gave up a lot of runs, missed his spots. The Padres jumped all over him. This is a lot better hitting team than the Padres saw in the Colorado Rockies or in the Houston Astros. These guys have come in here in a small ballpark and they're swinging the bat.
Well, you know, he gave up the 3-run home run, did Bailey, to Cameron Maybin. He got a second out the very next batter. But I'm sure the at-bat he is looking back on more than any other was the pitcher batting with the bases empty and 2 men out in this inning.
Well, you couldn't do anything about that hit, though. That was a swinging bunt that went right down the third baseline. It was barely hit. So those things just happen to happen. I think what he'd like to have back is that hanging breaking ball to Will Venable. He certainly like to have back that fastball he threw right down Broadway to Cameron Maybin that made Maybin into a home run hitter.
Well, the Cincinnati starting pitching has just been flat out great for the better part of 3 consecutive months, among the elite in all of Major League Baseball. But the Padres are not buying into that. They got 11 here last night, and they have scored 6 in this 4th inning. And while the Padres are scoring 6 in this inning, the Pirates are scoring 4 in the 1st inning in Chicago.
Is there anybody left in Wrigley Field? I mean, on that Cubs ball club? Or you talk about a ball club that has been stripped bare.
Well, they got a lot of work to do there in Chicago. Matt Garza went on the disabled list, and of course they ended up not trading him. Well, they did trade Ryan Dempster, Reed Johnson, Giovanni Soto, and Paul Maholm. Johnson and Maholm going to Atlanta, Soto and Dempster to Texas. Story right here and right now, though, is Homer Bailey. Can he get an out, the final out, after allowing 3 consecutive hits after 2 are out in the inning? 30-pitch inning for Homer. And that one off the glove of Rowland into left field. And making a turn and coming to third is Headley. And that's going to do it for Homer Bailey. Boy, what a disappointing outing by Bailey, who had had a spectacular month of July with an ERA of under 1.5. So this will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Sam LeCure trying to put out the fire. Back in a moment. First 20,000 fans receive a Barry Larkin Reds cap presented by Fox Sports Ohio. 513-381 Reds. That's Saturday, August the 18th. Lonely Planet travel guide named Cincinnati one of the top 3 travel destinations in 2012. So what are you waiting for? Book your weekend getaway at CincinnatiUSA.com. An early getaway for a second straight night by a Red starter.
Yeah, you know what? When you get hit like this in one inning, and it happened to Jason Marquis in the third, it happened to him when the Reds scored 5, 6 now in this inning against Homer Bailey. He goes home tonight and says, did anybody get the license of that truck that ran me over in the 4th inning? Because it happened so fast, you never really had a chance to take a deep breath and try to back yourself away from it. Just the way those things happen sometimes.
Well, now LeCure facing Yonder Alonso with runners on the corners. The Padres with that go-ahead run standing 90 feet away. It was roughly about 15 minutes ago. The Padres were trotting in from the field trailing 6-0. And LeCure will get the final out. A 6-run San Diego fourth. We're tied. with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Well, 30 minutes before every Reds game, it's Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Fox Sports Ohio, your exclusive home for Reds baseball. We'll have it for you again tomorrow, 6:30 tomorrow night.
Boy, things look so bleak for Jason Marquis about 20 minutes ago when he left the mound after giving up a 5 spot to the Reds in the bottom of the 3rd inning. But he's got a whole new perspective on life right now. It is not very often that a starting pitcher takes the mound in the 4th inning, looks at the scoreboard and says, I just gave up 6, but I'm in a tie ball game. I'm going to make believe it's 0-0. And that's really what it is.
Well, Sam LeCure will bat after getting the final out in relief of Homer Bailey in the top of this inning. LeCure with 1 plate appearance this season, and he was hit by a pitch. He is gone on strikes. Some of you may have heard the news during Reds Live before the game with Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro that Bill Bray was put on the disabled list today. Todd Redmond, who the Reds acquired, you may remember, from the Atlanta Braves. Brought back up, has never pitched in a major league game. Probably safe to assume that Redmond will be here for today, as he was the last time they brought him up, but only here for 1 game. Jonathan Broxton is expected to be here and in a Reds uniform, set for duty tomorrow night. Redmond still waiting for that 1 chance to pitch in a major league game.
This is his 3rd time this year he's been up for 1 day. Now, he may be up more than that. You don't know that. But, I mean, if Broxton shows up tomorrow, chances are Todd Redmond goes back to the minor leagues. I wonder what the record is.
Fly ball into right field. This will be out number 2.
For most times, you get called up and then sent back down without ever getting into a ball game. Happened to Todd Frazier the first time he was called up to the major leagues. Remember that?
Indeed, I do. He was standing in the on-deck circle, wasn't he, in Philadelphia?
He was indeed.
That was the warm-up act, if I remember correctly, where that occurred last year. A day or 2 before Wilson Valdez was the winning pitcher in that 19-inning marathon against those Philadelphia Phillies.
That was a night about 12:45 a.m. You offered to buy the entire crew cheesesteak sandwiches.
I did.
But there was nothing open.
Well, you think back, that was in May of last year. And look at Todd Frazier and Wilson Valdez now. Runner is safe. That's just sloppy right there by Cabrera. Perhaps a play that should have been made by Alonso, but a good, firm, strong throw, and that's as easy as it gets.
Well, they give the error on the throw and not on the catch, so it is a sloppy play by the shortstop. Just a little sidearm throw.
And another example of why you always run hard on a ground ball.
You're exactly right about that, but you leave the door open now in a ballpark like this especially. You get an error. This is an offensive kind of game already. We've seen 16 hits and 12 runs scored. I imagine there may be a whole bunch more offense before this night is done.
Brandon Phillips 0 for 2.
If you're Jason Marquis, you're saying, man, oh man, I've thrown enough pitches, haven't I? I'm in the 4th inning. I've thrown 72 pitches. Please make a play behind me. Like, he was very frustrated right before that Ryan Ludwig home run, that the ground ball base hit by Jay Bruce. No one was there to field it. All right, so we know that Wilson Valdez was the first designated pitcher for the Phillies last year, emergency type pitcher. Do you think that he might be the emergency catcher for the Reds if they needed a third catcher? Also, I mean, you know he can pitch. Can he catch too?
I think Wilson Valdez could probably do anything. Inning is over. An error, a man left. Well, we got a wild one in the makings here tonight. $8, you get a terrace level reserve seat for the August 14th afternoon session of the Western and Southern Open. Plus your choice to either the August 14th, 15th, or 16th Reds against Mets game at Great American Ballpark. How about that? You'll save close to $20 with this special doubleheader deal. For tickets, visit Reds.com/WSO. Considered to be one of the top 6 or 7 tennis tournaments in the world. Many believe after the 4 majors, it is the next best tennis tournament in the world, men and women. Coming up out at the Lindner Center next week. If you're just tuning in, it is a 6-6 ball game. Reds got 1 in the first, scored 5 in the third to open a 6-0 lead. The Padres scored 6 times on 8 hits against Homer Bailey to tie the game a half inning later. And 2 on John Baker, and LeCure to the plate. Breaking ball low. LeCure wanted that call, didn't get it. Well, after getting ahead at no balls and 2 strikes, LeCure has run it full against John Baker. He'll be followed by Cameron Maybin and then Everett Cabrera in the Padres' 5th. Told you the Pirates scored 4 times in Chicago in the first inning, and on 1 swing of the bat, Neil Walker, a grand slam.
How about that? Empty seats in the bleachers in Chicago. What, they trade some bleacher bums too?
Well, the summer night looked like a beautiful summer night there in Chicago.
Man, that is not very often.
Cameron Maybin now the batter. He had that 3-run home run, igniting the 6-run San Diego 4th. That was a laser that just did clear the wall in left center field. Cardinals, by the way, scored 4 runs in the first inning as well, out in Colorado. Slowed down on the roller. Throw there. Throw to second. Now they have the rundown, and Valdez to Frazier completes a double play. That's a smart play by Brandon Phillips.
Really smart play by Phillips, because once you get that base runner either to freeze or run back towards first base, you know that you're going to get him in a pickle and he's going to be able to get out if you can just execute basic baseball. If he took the time to reach down and tag him on this play, chances are you're not going to get the runner at the plate. Or, I mean, at first base. So he throws to first to get the force, and you get Baker in a rundown. That's good baseball.
On the shortstop, Cabrera, who's 0 for 2, is bounced to third and line to center. 1-1. On the inside edge, and LeCure now ahead of Cabrera at 1-2.
Now that pitch is Sam's calling card right there. That little 2-seamer that he likes to throw just off the plate, but he's got enough hair on it. Some good 2-seam action to come right back over the dish.
You know, the Reds broke spring training camp. LeCure was considered to be the quote-unquote long man, if you will, in their bullpen. But then when they acquired Alfredo Simon, he became that guy. That one lined softly in the center field. That'll be off the glove of Heisey. Good attempt there. But to wrap up that thought, LeCure is not a guy right now, not to say he can't do it, but he has not been a guy that has been used for really much more than 1 1 1/3 inning stints. He's only had the maximum of 2 innings out of the bullpen this year.
Well, even with that, you should be able to give your team 2 innings if you can be somewhat efficient with your pitches. Now, if you go out and throw 25 pitches in the first inning, that may not happen. But all these guys are in shape. In fact, this pitching staff may be in the best shape I've seen of a number of pitching staffs over the years. I mean, Matt Krause, Brian Price, they've got them out there running as a team every day. I mean, it's remarkable. We remarked last night, or the other night anyway, about how it had made a difference in Alfredo Simon, how he looks, how he pitches. He's in much better shape now than he was when he came over from the Orioles. So I'm not sure that asking Sam McCurry to go out and throw 30, 35 pitches in a ballgame is going to be all that much. Now, if you're going to extend him to 4 or 5 innings, that's a different story. I don't think they've got somebody down there right now, with the exception of Todd Redmond, who could give him those kind of innings. So your point is well taken.
You know, Chris, you get back to about how good a shape they're in. I think most fans, and I'd be right in line with them. I mean, I think they would all ask the question, how could a ball player really not be in good shape? I mean, it's not like, you know, you go to work at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. You come home at 6 o'clock at night. You eat dinner. You see your kids. I mean, when are you supposed to work out every day during that? There's some people that find the time. But if you're a baseball player, now, if you're an everyday player, you may not want to go out and run 2 miles every day.
Well, you're
running.
running.
My, if you're a pitcher, how could you not be in shape?
Good point, but do you pay the guys to be in shape, or do you pay them to get hitters out?
Well, I'm just going hand in hand with what you're saying there about, you know, they're pitching better than they ever have in probably 30 years in the Reds organization. And you were just mentioning about,
well, you know,
this group is really active and they're moving around a lot.
What I really like about it is that they do it as a team. We've seen teams in the past, I'm going way back with the Reds, where some guys would ride the bicycle, other guys would work out in the weight room, some guys would run steps. Now these guys are all running together as a group, and I think that makes a lot of sense, because it kind of doesn't only keep you in shape, it galvanizes your ball club together.
Swing and a miss by the pitcher Marquis. First time we got him out tonight. We're tied at 6.
FoxSportsOhio.com right now and choose how many strikeouts will occur in the 8th inning. If you're not playing along, make sure you join us on FoxSportsOhio.com each Tuesday night, Bowtie Tuesday night, throughout the season. Winners will be announced in tonight's post-game show. So how many strikeouts will there be in the 8th inning? Last night's 8th inning featured 1 strikeout.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on that tonight.
Just to remind you that past performance is no indication of future.
Wow. That is straight from the Fox business desk. 6-6 game. It'll be Jay Bruce, Ryan Ludwig, and Scott Rowland against Jason Marquis here in the Reds' 5th. Reds led this game 6-0. Of course, the Reds came back from a 6-0 deficit to win on their last homestand. They did it against the Diamondbacks. Two and one to Jay Bruce. He's been on twice tonight. Was on base 4 times last night. Off the inside corner, 3-1, and of those 6 times where he has reached base, half of them have come via the walk. Pulled a string on Jay right there on a 3-1 pitch. He's looking dead red and didn't get it. High fly ball straight away center field. Room out there for Maven. 1 out.
Well, tonight before the ball game, the Cincinnati Reds honored a ball club from Wheelersburg High School, the state champions in Ohio Division III. They won that contest in June, and we want to congratulate Michael Estep and the Pirates at Wheelersburg High School. Of course, Wheelersburg is the hometown of longtime Reds scout and front office operative Gene Bennett. In fact, he's got a field named after him down there, a tremendous complex. They have a great tournament, Gene Bennett Tournament. And we congratulate the state champs from Wheelersburg High. Way to go, guys.
Way to go is right. I tell you what, there must be something in the water down there in southeast Ohio as far as baseball. Wheelersburg again winning the state championship. How about Marietta?
Oh, the
program
Marietta
they
College.
are running. Yes, Marietta College. Winning the national championship again this year. That's back-to-back years. As Ludwig lines out hard to center field. 2 are out.
That's Jim Tracy's old school.
Kent DeColvey went there. So too did Terry Mulholland.
They've always had a good program, even going back to the days in the 70s.
Yeah, it's not good anymore. It is the best in the country. I believe they play Division III baseball, if I'm not mistaken. They don't give away any scholarship money. But, I mean, it is the juggernaut program in the United States of America at their level. One and one the count on Scott Rowland. 6-6 our score. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 out, nobody on. Rowland tonight is lined out to short, single to center, and scored on the Todd Frazier home run in the 3rd. And a 3-2. Ball 4, and Frazier will get a chance to bat here in the 5th. Padres had to get 4 innings out of their bullpen last night. Edinson Volquez lasting just the front 5. Well, Marquis is closing in on 90 pitches. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. He was behind 6-0, and now he's pitching in a tie game. Well, that's center cut fastball for Frazier, and he takes it for a strike. All 6 of the Reds' runs in this game have come with 2 men out. The 5th inning is over. Going to the 6th, tied at 6, and catch up with Joey Votto when we come back.
Fantastic, and a lot of the offensive guys have not only played good defense, but have really taken a step up in terms of having really excellent seasons overall, which is kind of the same type of thing we had in 2010. A lot of guys had exceptional years, and that propelled us into the playoffs. Now, hopefully this year it's not a one and done type of thing. Hopefully we get deep into the playoffs and win a World Series, which is what I hope to be healthy for.
Jim Day with you. That was part of the extended sit-down interview I had with Joey Votto today, and the question was, how proud are you of your teammates, the way they've played since you have been out? Now, updating you on Joey Votto's progress. Once again went through baseball activities today. He is on the bench tonight in the dugout, but he is still yet to hit. He's thrown, he's running. He says he's not 100%, but he also said, hey, if I was pain-free, I'd be playing right now. I asked him if the pain is normal. Are the doctors and trainers telling you the pain you have right now is normal? He says yes, and he said it will only take him a couple of days to get ready once he does start hitting. Everyone was hoping he would be back perhaps by this weekend for the Pirates series. This is just me talking. Can't see that happening unless something unforeseen happens. He says he is not going to rush it. Guys?
Well, you can't rush it. I was starting to bring up the conversation with Jim Leyland last night that I had last weekend, having a chance to call the Tigers and the White Sox as we're tied at 6 here in the 6th inning. And Jim Leyland is convinced as time has gone on, and we all know that there have been advances in medical technology, the way they perform the surgeries. Doctors are better than they've ever been before. There's no debate about that. The rehab is better. But Jim Leyland is absolutely convinced that there is still very little difference in being able to come back from a torn meniscus, a knee surgery, arthroscopic surgery. The advances are not having guys come back 8, 9, 10 days earlier. He thinks maybe it's a 3 or a 4 day window at best. And that's just his opinion. So if you say a player's anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, I think 3 weeks, and I said it from the very beginning. And I could prove to be wrong if he shows up on Monday ready to play when the Reds go on the road. There are very few guys coming back to play this game every day that are going to be back on the field and playing well and healthy. Not even 100% healthy. The ability to go play the game every single day in 3 weeks.
All right, so I got to ask you a question. Whether it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it doesn't matter for this question. Does he go down and do a day or 2 or 3 in rehab?
Well, in that interview, he said at Jim Day, no. He said he feels like he could be ready to play without it. Now he might change his mind.
Now, nowadays, players have the option to say no if the ball club asks them to go down and do a medical rehab.
Jim Day has very good stuff earlier today with Joey Votto.
Thank you very much, Tom. I tell you what, I don't know what happened to Joey Votto in the offseason, but, man, he just made a turn for the better as far as dealing with the media and the fans. I don't know if someone talked to him or what, but he is night and day from the years past. He is very cordial now, very thoughtful in his interviews. And if you ask me who are the best 2 interviews on this team, I would say Bronson Arroyo and Joey Votto because of their honesty. And he certainly wasn't in that category in past seasons. In fact, yesterday he did something that he's never done. After he went through his workout, he came up to us and said, you guys need me? Well, you need to talk to me? So the media didn't have to chase him down. He came and wanted to talk.
In the air down the left field line, it's caught. You know, the one guy who I think has helped a lot of the young players on this Reds team in that regard in dealing with the media, not only dealing with the media, but making players understand that the media have a job to do. And you have a choice. You can kind of help them get their job done, not go out of your way or interfere with your schedule, but you can be cordial, cooperative. You can be brief. Is Scott Rowland? I mean, Scott Rowland understands better than any player I've ever been around how to deal with the media. He's just a regular guy. He'll say hello to people. He understands there are times he's going to get ripped. There are going to be times where people get on him. But he looks at it like those people have a job to do.
Well, there's been nobody in that dugout, including Dusty Baker, that has been ripped the way Scott Rowland has been ripped in his career. In Philadelphia, they ran him out of town. He had his problems in St. Louis. And really, all he does is go out and play hard every day. But if the expectation levels are one, and you don't reach those for one reason or another, even on a year-to-year basis or month-to-month basis, in Philadelphia, they'll boo you out of town, and that's essentially what happened there. So he's got a different perspective than anybody else about how severe it can actually be. And this is a very friendly media town compared to some other towns out there. And you're right, he's a class guy, stand-up guy. Whether he does great or whether he does poorly, he'll be right there after the ball game with a nice, concise answer. Friendly to you. Away from the ballpark.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He is just the best.
And I think you're right, though, that there are a lot of players that can learn a lot and have learned a lot from watching Scott Rowland, being talked to by Scott Rowland. It's part of the leadership you talk about. And some people poo-poo that. But when you get a guy to roll on your ball club, it shows.
Swing and a miss, and a very impressive 6th inning for Sam LeCure. He retires his side in order. 6-6 game. Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. AT&T trivia question tonight. Which player did the Reds acquire twice within 8 days going back to December of 1997? You know the answer to that one, Mr. Welsh?
I should know that. Yes, I do.
Nice.
And it's kind of appropriate that we bring that question up, because if it's the guy that I'm thinking of, and this is the week of the soon-to-be bald or hairless radio announcer Marty Brenaman.
Yes.
That particular player also made news, I think, for not necessarily cutting his hair, but dyeing his hair. If I'm thinking of the right guy.
Well, I don't know, so we'll find out if you're right.
To make that hint a little clear, he dyed his hair blonde. And Jack McKeon didn't think too much of it.
I remember who you're talking about now. In fact, we just saw him at the induction at the Reds Hall of Fame.
We did.
Was there for Sean Casey's induction. And if he hadn't stopped me, if he hadn't stopped me and said hello, gave each other a big hug, I'd have never known, and I could have walked right by him in a hallway and never known it was him. Great smile, warm, friendly guy.
No doubt about it.
Foul ball.
Has a brother that plays in the major leagues.
And after some trials and tribulations in his life, he's got his whole act together and doing quite well.
He is. In fact, he's trying to get back in the game, in the game of baseball, that is, and we saw him when the Reds were out in Los Angeles. We'll give you his name next inning.
Mesoraco gone on strikes to begin the inning. An excellent job by Sam LeCure. He goes 2 1/3 innings as Miguel Cairo will bat for him. He allows just 1 base hit and no runs.
You know, it's funny you bring up a guy like Todd Redmond, an extra pitcher, and in the event the Reds have their starter blown out early on, or there's an injury, so you need to cover some innings. But when you're tied in a 6-6 ball game and you lose your starter early, it's a whole different spin, because it's not a mop-up situation. Is this the game that you want to get Todd Redmond in for the first time as a Cincinnati Red? So you have an extra body, but it might not be the right situation to use him.
Yeah, and a couple of those guys you're probably thinking about using. Alfredo Simon, Jose Arredondo, both those guys threw multiple innings last night, and Ondrusek threw the final 9th inning. 0-2 to Miguel Cairo. He got a start here last night, went hitless in 4 at-bats. Well, certainly the juice was taken. I don't mean it was slowly taken away. It was ripped out of here. I mean, they were bouncing off the walls in here when the Reds scored 5 times in the 3rd inning to open up a 6-0 lead, and before you knew it, San Diego tied the game the very next half inning. Two outs in the inning. Well, Fox Sports Ohio has been bringing you Reds baseball for years. Well, now it's time for us to bring you to Reds baseball. Find out more about the Fox Sports Ohio Fan Express. It debuts tomorrow at noon along the banks. You got to check it out. I mean, if you're thinking about bringing a group down to the game, could be a church group, kids group, YMCA, whatever it is, you got to check out this Fan Express tomorrow, and how Fox Sports Ohio could get you and your group to the ballpark. 0-2 on Chris Heisey. Pirates still lead their game 4-0. Got a grand slam from Neil Walker in the first. They're now in the fourth. Heisey gone swinging it out of the inning. Marquia survives 6. We're tied at 6. Or visit Reds.com for details. Well, we answer our AT&T trivia question. Chris, the answer is
Dimitri Young.
There he is.
Now, didn't one of those trades involve Jeff Brantley? Brantley going to St. Louis, Dimitri Young coming the other way?
Yes.
So he probably knew the answer to that question, too. New pitcher is Sean Marshall. 47 games for Sean Marshall. He's an even 3-3 record-wise. Good earned run average. He does not walk very many batters at all. That's probably the key stat for him. Only 8 walks and over 45 strikeouts.
Sean has Ryan Hannigan now hanging his signs behind the plate, part of a double switch. I wouldn't think this is a double switch. I mean, you could do it. It's a difference between one batter, and Marshall's not going to make it unless the Reds have a huge inning in the 7th, all the way down to the number 8 spot anyway, and he's basically been a 1-inning guy. I'm sure Hannigan is batting in that number 8 hole, and Marshall is in a 9th spot. One in, one to count on Carlos Quentin. And a check swing. Did he go around? No, on the appeal to Tom Hallion, the crew chief. 2-1 to Quentin, who's 1 of 3 and an infield hit in the 4th. Followed by Yonder Alonso and then John Baker. Fly ball in the deep left field. Ludwig backing up. He leaps and got it.
Boy, he's doing it all, is he not? Hitting home runs. He came advertised as a good outfielder. A lot of people we're surprised to see him even be better than that. I think he's an above average outfielder, the way he tracks the ball. He's got an accurate arm. He's having fun playing right now. Now there's a guy that's very, very friendly to the media.
No doubt about it. You know, you could go on and on and on and on right down the line around this Reds team about not good guys, just great guys. Who's a nicer guy than a guy pitching right now?
You're right.
I mean, really. And you could say that about just about every player on this Reds team. I know I've heard my dad say it, and he's been around 39 years. I've been announcing for 25. Chris, you've been announcing for what, 20?
Yes.
You know, they're
we've seen them at both ends of the spectrum.
There's no doubt about it. And I'm not sure I've been around a team that has more nice guys than this current 2012 Cincinnati edition.
Well, we've seen a lot of nice guys along the way.
Yeah.
On losing ball clubs. This has that rare combination of being nice guys and on a winning club.
I would say it's probably harder being a nice guy on a losing ball club, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, you don't try to hide as much when you're when you're on a winning club.
Swing at a foul ball.
When you lose 10 in a row.
Yeah.
And there's 15 media members out in the clubhouse. You don't want to be the only guy in the clubhouse, and they all come to you looking for a quick comment.
That's why the leaders of different teams, you know, on this Reds team, the primary guys the press go to regularly are Votto and Phillips.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the two guys that got to answer the bell, along with the manager, obviously. But whether the team is great or whether the team is bad, but especially when a team is bad, you're the guy getting interviewed pretty much every single night. Breaking ball away, 2-2 to Yonder Alonso. Two to Alonso. Swung on and missed. And Marshall has set down the first two here in the Padres seventh.
He's got that curveball working tonight. That is his go-to pitch. He's got a slider. He'll get that over from time to time. But when he wraps that big hook out there, awfully tough. You don't see that many pitchers now that throw a true curveball. Especially guys that are 6 feet 6 inches tall.
Bouncing ball to second, and this will end the inning. Got a quick email to the booth that asked the question, talking about nice guys. He said, who would want to talk to either one of you two mopes? 6-6 game, middle of the seventh. prepared for June's NHL draft on Before the Battle. It premieres tomorrow after Reds Live, the post-game edition from the draft to free agency, the Rick Nash trade. We'll take you through all the offseason action of the Columbus Blue Jackets on Before the Battle. That ought to be fascinating. What's truly fascinating is Jason Marquis is climbing the mound for the 7th inning. At the end of the 3rd, he had given up 5 runs, 5 hits, and a total of 6 runs and 7 hits through the front 3.
It's amazing, really. You're right. I mean, it just goes to show you that this old Grizzly veteran with a little perseverance has a chance to win a ball game. A 5 spot in the 3rd inning. He's had 3 very good innings, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Valdez showing bunt, pulls it away. 1-1.
Now, Marquis is not the kind of guy to go out there and give you 125, 130 innings. In fact, the most he's thrown this year is right around 112, 113. So if they can get 1 more out of him, they've got to be just as pleased as can be.
Little dribbler. Marquis, a good athlete, and boy, has had a nice play.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Chase Headley doesn't make that play. If Marquis does not come off the mound that quick and make that play, there's no way the third baseman does it. The key is how quickly you get to it, and he does, and he stays low, fields it, stays low. Nicely done.
It's a big out to begin the 7th inning. Now Brandon Phillips, a very quiet night for the Reds' number 3 hitter. 3 ground ball outs. Well, the Reds have been absolutely silenced since the 5-run 3rd inning. They do not have a single hit. Only 2 base runners over the last 3 1/3. There was a throwing error by Cabrera that allowed Valdez to reach in the 4th. And there was a 2-out walk to Scott Rowland in the 5th. That has been it. I mean, this is the definition here of, and you hear the word all the time. That one's in the air to left center field, and Phillips making noise in the 7th. Number 13 for Brandon, and the Reds are back in front.
Well, let's take a look at this at-bat, pitch by pitch, that led to the 7th run of the ball game for the Reds. Jason Marquis, Brandon Phillips, brought to you by Mazda, trying to pitch him down and in. I mean, that they want to get him to roll over the ball, but you got to figure Jason Marquis is getting tired, and he is. He throws that ball just about waist high, inner 3rd. Brandon Phillips puts a good swing on it, and it's a 1-run lead for the Redlegs.
Tell you what, he went out there and competed tonight, though.
He sure did.
But Phillips breaks the tie. We're in the 7th. Back in a moment. Phillips, a solo home run to give the Reds a 1-run lead. 1 out, nobody on. Last of the 7th inning, and we get our second look in as many nights at left-hander Alex Henshaw.
He was in last night, walked the first two batters that he faced. Henshaw did, making his first appearance this year with the San Diego Padres after spending a couple of years with the San Francisco Giants. 26 game overall for Henshaw. He's got some control problems, as you see down here. 16 walks in 25 games, covering 23 innings. And he showed that last night when he came into the ball game and promptly walked Jay Bruce and then Scott Rowland.
They had to bring in Mr. Brock to bail him out, getting the final 2 outs in the 7th. Ball 1 to Jay, 1 of 2 is walked, singled, scored, fly to center. One ball, 2 strikes, a count. Henshaw against Bruce. 1 out in the 7th. Struck him out, 2 away. Our Nissan drive of the game back in the 3rd inning. With 2 outs, 2 on. Ludwig hammers one to right center field. His 18th home run. He's knocked in 4 runs tonight, giving him 52 batted in on the season. His only out tonight was a liner right at Maven. You know, you go back to when the calendar turned to June the 1st. Tomorrow we go to August the 1st. On the 1st of June, Ryan Ludwig was hitting .200 with 5 home runs and 20 runs batted in. And that was just about the time, maybe a week or 2 later, when his entire season completely did a 180.
And he wasn't looking good doing it either.
No. He just basically ran into a few home runs.
His swing was long. His batting average was very low. He was way out ahead of breaking pitches. He was behind fastballs. That was then, and this is now when he's locked in. I think part of it for Ryan Ludwig is knowing that he's going to be in the lineup.
Well, he's in there virtually every night now. There's all that talk about when Scott Rowland came back, you know, what would happen to Todd Frazier. Well, they might have to talk about Todd Frazier and what's going to happen to him when Votto comes back, but not as quick for many to all of a sudden say, sit down, Ludwig, and play Frazier in left, the way Ludwig's going right now. And there was a lot of that talk, you may remember.
Yes, there was.
Hardwick draws a walk. The inning continues for Roland. Bud Black going to make a pair of changes. Yonder Alonso is going to come out of the game. They're going to send in Jesus Guzman to play first base. Boy, I'd have a hard time taking Yonder Alonso out of this game, although you know what Bud Black is doing. He's looking at his lineup, and he knows who the Reds would have basically the next turn for Alonso coming into the game. Man, it would be Chapman.
Well, does it really matter whether you're right-handed or left-handed?
No. So Yonder will leave, as will Henshaw. We'll be back. Their bullpen is right-hander Dale Thayer, and he's facing Scott Rowland. Ball one. Thayer's got that Doug Jones look about him, doesn't he?
I think Sam LeCure had one kind of like that for a while. I wonder if Dale Thayer's mustache has a name like Cornelius, like LeCure's did.
To Cabrera, force out will end the inning. But the Reds get the long one from Phillips. We go to the 8th. Reds lead by a run. 7-6 Reds lead. Set to begin the 8th inning. Zach Cozart comes on to take over at short. And Wilson Valdez will move over to second base. Brandon Phillips is out of the game. Of course, he had cramping, you may remember, on Sunday out in Denver. Was taken out in the 5th inning that day. Came right back, was in the lineup each of these last 2 games. He had it bad earlier in the game, Chris. It made me wonder if he had tweaked a little something when he hit that ground ball to the third baseman ending the 4th inning.
Well, he didn't run very much, and we've seen this recently. There's another one right there. It seems like he's doing that every day.
Broken bat pop-up, shallow right. Bruce got a good jump on it.
Although when he had a cramp, I believe in Colorado, I believe it was his left knee, and that looked like when you swing like that, that's your right knee that he goes down on. So unless we hear something about Brandon Phillips, we will not know.
So an inning and a third for Marshall. 4 times this season he has gone longer than 1 inning, maximum 2. There's a liner into center field, and Heisey tracks it in time.
Now, Chris Heisey plays a very shallow center field, which is a good thing here, because chances are there are going to be more balls that are hit in front of you like this, especially when a pitcher makes a good pitch, and are all balls going over your head that will stay in the ballpark. They will play Carlos Quentin a little deeper. Or not Quentin, but Jesus Guzman.
That is a foul ball off the foot of Jesus Guzman, and Devin Mesoraga, or Ryan Hannigan rather, not buying it.
Don't say anything now, Ryan.
No. If you're looking for a quick and delicious meal the whole family will try, Chris Welsh would recommend the JTM Meatball Sub Kits. Pick up one today in your local grocer's freezer. JTM, create great dishes together. Two down. Guzman the 1-1. Fastball away. Big swing and a miss. 2-2. Luke Gregerson warms up in a San Diego bullpen. Now, you may remember going back to that long, regular outings for Aroldis Chapman during the 10-game winning streak. He did not pitch on Sunday. After the game on Saturday, Dusty Baker made the comment he would love to give Chapman Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. Today's Tuesday. You have a 1-run lead and you're in the 8th. This is the prime example of one of those decisions that when you're a major league manager, especially managing a team that's in contention, these are the decisions you can't win. You just can't win. If you bring in Chapman, you use him, then people say, well, you said you want to stay away from him for 3 days. You're overusing him. If you don't bring it in and you lose a game, well, then you get killed for not bringing him in. But Dusty Baker is sitting right there between that rock and a hard place. What's he going to do when we get to the ninth? Sunday, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger get a Brandon Phillips backpack courtesy of Cincinnati Bell. We have the Reach Magazine dynamic deal for $20. You get the view level ticket plus $10 in concession credits. 381 Reds, or visit Reds.com. There are tickets available for the weekend series with the Pirates coming into town. Top two teams in the NL Central. Thayer still on the mound facing Todd Frazier. And you know, I need to back up for a minute. I misunderstood the other day when Dusty Baker was talking about the number of days he did not want to use Chapman. He was talking about only Sunday and Monday, which obviously Chapman had off. And this one in the air to right field, short of the track, out number one. So it is Chapman indeed getting ready, and he's had his 2 days off. So I beg your pardon, I misspoke early.
You know, I think you'd rather give Chapman 2 days off, have him pitch, give him another day or two off, and have him pitch, rather than go too many days between touches. But in a one-run ball game, whether it's 7-6 or whether it's 1-0, you got a hammer out there like Aroldis Chapman. Man, the temptation to go to him.
And again, I want to make sure everybody understands. I misunderstood that. It was clarified to me during the commercial break. It was the 2 days, not 3. So Dusty Baker's not going against anything that he had said earlier. That's my fault. One and 0, and Ryan Hannigan getting his first at bat of the game since replacing Devin Mesoraco. Hannigan did not like the call. 2-1. If you're looking ahead of the San Diego ninth inning, they'll have the top of the order. Amarista, a much better left-handed hitter. He'll be batting right-handed against Chapman. Venable, left-handed batter. They may hit for him. Then Headley, a switch hitter. Two and two the count. Popped up. Foul ground for Headley. And the first two set down by Thayer here in the eighth. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game, capping off a 5-run third. Was this ball hammered? Way back. Moon deck by Todd Frazier.
Boy, he's a strong kid. He hits them a long way. You watch him in batting practice, it is not uncommon for him to hit a lot of balls in that second deck.
This Reds bullpen tonight, again, just unbelievable. They have one more out to go, but their starter, Homer Bailey, gives up 6 runs in 1 inning. Does not even survive that 4th inning. In comes LeCure, gets a final out. He goes 2 1/3, allows 1 hit and a walk, no runs. Marshall gives him 2 innings, perfect. And the 9th will belong to Chapman. And to thank the Reds, tomorrow we'll add Jonathan Broxton. And you heard Walt Jocketty say if all goes well, good Lord willing, no more health problems. But already on the comeback trail is Nick Massett. My, oh my. 0-2 to Xavier Paul.
You look back on Homer Bailey and you think of all the games that he's pitched recently where he's gone 8 innings, 7 innings in his last 3 games just in the month of July. He saved the bullpen a lot in those ball games where the Reds needed somebody to go deep. Didn't tonight. But he only gave up 2 runs, earned runs, the entire month of July. Comes in this ball game and gives up 6.
And you know what? This outing tonight, it might, not going to say it is because it'd be unfair to say. Kind of outing tonight, what it's going to do to your ERA, because you and I get the ballot at the end of every month for the National League Pitcher of the Month.
Right.
If Bailey would have gone 5 or 6, allowed 2 or 3 runs tonight, maybe gets a win, 5-0 ERA under 2.
Yeah.
He's going to be getting a lot of people's votes.
You're right.
Who are looking at nothing but numbers. And we're guilty of doing it.
Well, we don't go by, when you've got a list of 20 candidates, you don't go by game of all of them.
And the other guy who's pitched so well in the month of July outside of Bailey is Johnny Cueto. Both of them are tied for the most wins in the month among all National League pitchers. Popped up, short left center.
He might have one here.
He's got one.
He might be one of the happiest guys in the clubhouse right there. Do you think Xavier Paul, with all the rumors about the Reds going out looking for an offensive player, maybe a cleanup hitter, but more than likely a top of the order type hitter or somebody off the bench, a left-handed bat off the bench? Well, if you're the existing left-handed bat off the bench and your ball club is looking for another, you're sitting on pins and needles until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Putting your uniform on very slowly, waiting for somebody to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Skip wants to talk to you.
Or you put it on real early. It was about 97. You ran as far away from the Reds clubhouse as you could out in left center field, and somebody's going to tell you, make them earn it. And come find you. No, but you're right. Hey, but you know what? There are a lot of guys getting paid a lot of money that are quote-unquote left-handed hitters off the bench that have done it for a longer period of time. But right now, as of today, since they brought him on board, Paul has done an excellent job.
Yeah.
Well, we understand that A.J. Burnett is working on a no-hitter through 6 innings at Wrigley Field in Chicago. What a story Burnett has been after all his struggles with the Yankees. Comes over back into the National League and has had an outstanding season for the Pirates. They took a flyer on a couple of guys. The Pirates did. A long-time American League guys in Burnett and Eric Bedard. There goes Paul.
Good jump.
And he has a stolen base.
Yeah, good jump, good speed. That's one thing that Paul can bring you is a little bit of foot speed, which a lot of bench guys don't have.
He had a double to lead off the game. He has struck out twice and sandwiched in between a fly ball to right.
Second time.
Well, whatever Dale Thayer just said, he had Baker belly laughing there out on the mound. I'm not sure what it was, but I haven't seen a catcher do that in a long time.
Probably said, can't you read my lips? Well, they went out there probably to talk about what the sign should be with a runner at second base so that Xavier Paul doesn't alert the hitter to what's coming. But normally when that happens, at least in the old days, you say, okay, second sign. He must have had a little punchline to go with that.
2-2. That ball's hit hard into right center field, but run down at the track, and that'll end the inning. All right, here we go. The big fella. Is he coming on to try and close it out of the night? You better believe it. The electrifying Aroldis Chapman against National League teams this season. You want to talk about extraordinary? This is against a National League. 44 innings, 1 earned run. 1 earned run in 44 1/3 innings inside his own league. Since his last blown save in a 4-3 loss against Minnesota on the 24th of June, he has ripped off 13 straight save chances, has not allowed a run, and in 14 1/3 innings has fanned 33 of the 53 batters he has faced.
His swing and miss rate is 42%, which is off the charts. Which is about double what the major league average is.
Cool. All right, here we go. He has a 1-run lead in the 9th inning. It'll start with Logan Forsythe, and be careful on the first pitch of this guy. We found out the hard way in San Diego earlier. You know, when the Padres came into town, all you heard about was Logan Forsythe, Logan Forsythe, Logan Forsythe. We haven't seen him in the lineup either of the first 2 games. 1-1. He hit the game with the home run, right? After Matt Latos was taken out of the game, at a home run off Sean Marshall when we were out in San Diego. 1-2. Crowd oohs and ahs, looking at the radar gun instantly after every single Chapman pitch. Just off the inside corner.
Well, he's the only pitcher that I have ever seen who throws a baseball and people take pictures of the scoreboard.
Three and two on Forsythe. Contact down the right field line. What a play by Frazier!
Holy moly.
And that appeared to be in fair territory, wasn't it?
It wasn't fair territory. Taking a page out of the Brandon Phillips book right there.
What a play.
Guy's a ball player.
No doubt about it. Now the former Red Kristen Northia with one out in the ninth. Chapman rocks, kicks, and fires. Gas. I mean, the entire baseball world just captivated by Aroldis Chapman. Broken bat, littered all over the infield, and Kozar to throw out to Northia.
Well, you heard Walt Jocketty talking about Aroldis Chapman and how good an athlete he was. If you were able to come out here early and watch him run with the pitchers, I'm convinced that if Aroldis Chapman wasn't playing baseball, he would be in the Olympics. Running the 220 or the 440. Incredible athlete.
Boy, has he been blessed with a cannon for an arm.
How far can he throw a javelin?
Here's Henley. Ball one. Chapman trying to get his 22nd save, make a winner tonight out of Sean Marshall. One ball and one strike. Try to get him on a slider on a two-strike pitch, and it just missed. A 90-mile-per-hour slider. Down the left field line and bending foul. Pretty good contact. Not sure that had fence clearing distance.
And he turned and hit a ball foul on a line on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
They try to come back with another slider there. They just got away from it.
He's got to be looking fastball right here, right? Chapman is at his best when he gets that ball up. How about let her high?
Well, he buried that fastball right in on his knuckles and somehow, some way made contact without breaking his back. Padres are doing something we rarely ever see, and that's put the bat on the ball. 8 pitches so far in this at bat to Headley. Cody coming into this appearance. Chapman had struck out 33 of the last 53 batters he had faced. He's retired the first 2, but both have put the ball in play. 3-2 to Headley. Behind the screen and out of play. By the way, a couple of quick updates. Brandon Phillips left the game with a mild strain of his left calf. Devin Mesoraco left the game suffering from a bout of dizziness. We can talk about all that after the game. This will be the 10th pitch in this at bat. Reds lead by a run. 2 outs, nobody on. Top of the 9th inning. 3-2 to Headley. There you go. He went around on a slider, and that is strike 3, and the Reds have won it by a final score of 7-6. Headley is still standing there in disbelief. He thought it was ball 4. He did not realize that the home plate umpire, Alfonso Marquez, was the one who rung him up.
He's so convinced that he did not go, he's taken off his leg protector. Dusty sees him ring him up. He says, that's enough. He went. Meanwhile, Alfonso Marquez and the rest of the umpires head down to the umpire room. Buddy Black walking down the dirt, following them down there. Well, it's in the books. And the Reds are back on the winning side of the ledger.
And again, the Cincinnati bullpen. Chapman gets all the pub, and understandably so. 5 1/3, 1 hit, shutout baseball from a trio of LeCure, Marshall, Chapman. And Broxton's on the way.